Hey guys, my name is Jonathon Henderson with Pressure Washing Marketing Pros, and today I have the honor of being with Shawn Baker of Baker's Softwash and I Need Lights with an exclamation point, right?
That's right. That's right. How you
How
doing?
you doing, man?
Good, good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So I see Sean guys all the time at the biggest conventions like the huge convention, the PWNC or the PWMCA. So I see you at a lot of those conventions. I know you're killing it, and you'll be able to tell us more about your company. But for all you guys living under a rock, like I said, Sean operates out of the Mooresville area in North Carolina, which is probably
Yep.
about what, like 20, 30 minutes north of Charlotte.
Yeah, correct. It's just the lake town up here on Lake Norman, just north
Like
of Charlotte.
Norman. Yep.
Yep.
So right now, Sean will be talking about his company. They do around $800,000 a year. They got 7 people on staff. So what better way to go ahead and talk about growing your exterior cleaning company, running your exterior cleaning company than Sean. So thank you so much, man, for being on.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks for having me. I really enjoy this.
No problem, man. So let's dive right into it, man. Let's dive right into it. So, what got you started in the exterior cleaning industry? I know that you started your business, like as you said, what is it, like 7 days from now? It'll be 7 years, 8 years.
Yep. Yep. So in 2017, actually, if you back up just a little bit, 2016, I was working for Freightliner, putting semi trucks together. So being
Uh-huh.
drugged down the assembly line every day. Well, technically not me. I was a team leader, so I watched everybody else work, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
helped them out, right? But no, in 2016, January, when we got back from our Christmas break, because in the factory they give you 2 weeks off at Christmas, right? So they
Mhm.
come back and they're like, "Oh, we're having a town hall meeting." Town hall meeting said we're laying off 900 and some people. So
Mhm.
yeah, I missed that layoff by like 16 people. And then in February they had another town hall meeting. They laid off another 500. So that definitely got me in that one. So unfortunately, they left me with no job, no way to support my family.
Mhm.
I've got kids that need to eat, getting ready to graduate high school and stuff. So I have to worry about those things. And I started working for a guy in construction, went back to construction, and that guy would scream and yell at you like 5 minutes after you got there. He's screaming profanities like, "Get in the effing truck and go F that," and like somebody you couldn't work for, right?
Yeah.
But because I'm I'm a dad, right? First and foremost, and I gotta always protect my kids. So the first thing I stayed with that for a while.
Mhm.
After a while, though, I just couldn't deal with him anymore with all that screaming and yelling, and I quit and I started mowing lawns. When in my neighborhood, got on Facebook, started mowing lawns and stuff. And this really nice lady, Miss Rose, her husband Kevin had skin cancer. Kevin
Mhm.
couldn't go outside; he couldn't do the things he liked to do. So she hired me to come down, weed the beds, and mow the lawn and do these different things. And over that summer, my parents bought me a pressure washer. My stepdad says, "Well, maybe you can go clean something and make a couple dollars and just try to help yourself out." So, all right, great. So I told Miss Rose, because I was doing a lot of work for her specifically. I mean, I was doing other things within the neighborhood and stuff and getting my name out there. But I told Miss Rose, I go, "Wow, I got a pressure washer," and she goes, "Oh, great! Can you wash my house?" I said, "Yeah, sure." And I grabbed my phone. I'm like, "How do you wash a house?"
Mhm.
So I learned all the wrong ways of doing it for quite a while. And then um, in November of 2017, late August, October, early November, I said, "Ma, I really want to keep this business going, right?" And she's like, "You just need to go out and get a real job." She said, "It's almost winter time. You just need to go out and get a real job, and this is the way it is." And I said, and I just wanted her to co-sign a loan, right? Just try to help me buy some equipment and keep this going. And she said, "No." Okay, I understand, and I'm not going to press. If she said no, she said no. That night, and this is where my faith kicks in. So that night, I got on my knees, I prayed to God, and I said, "Hey, if this is what you want me to do, let it be. If not, then I'll find something else, right?"
Mhm.
And so the next day, my mom calls, and about 12:30, she called me and she said, "Hey, I just want to let you know I have it on my heart to give you the money to get you started." And I go, "Oh, Ma, you're gonna co-sign a loan?" And she says, "No, I'm
Mhm.
gonna give you the money. I'm gonna loan you the money, but I'm gonna give you the money to go ahead and get started." And she gave me a small amount of money. allowed me to buy a little bit of equipment and kind of get started. I bought my first skid with that and kind of get started.
Mhm.
And paid her back, since, make sure she is squared away.
Mhm.
But it's kind of crazy how, you just go from nothing to now I own a business. And the craziest part, I think, out of owning a business is the only reason why I did this in the first place was to feed my family. I never intended to own a business. I never intended to be an entrepreneur, but it just kind of worked out that way. And the funny part is the only reason why it worked out that way is because I was going around and I was, cashing checks. People were paying me $200-300. I was making a bunch of money, or so I
Mhm.
thought.
Yeah.
Um, but then I got this commercial job and they made the checkout to Baker Wash. They're like, who do we make it out to? So I hurried up and I got my insurance and everything, and it came up for Baker Wash. And I go to cash the check, and the bank says, we can't cash that. I go, why not? They're like, because it's made out to a business. I said, but it's me. And they're like, you got to open a business account. So I ended up having to get a DBA, open a business account. And so that's how I ended up with a business.
Mm-hmm. Hey man, that's quite the story right there. So what made you go from like because you were cutting lawns and all that, then you had Miss Rose asking you to pressure wash your house. Like what gave you the motivation and be like, I'm not gonna go this landscaping route, I'll go the pressure washing route.
I enjoyed it. I
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed the before and after, the look of it, you know what I mean? And it, to me, at the time, now I don't know how to price things. I think I found a guy on YouTube. I watched him for a while. I can't even remember his name anymore. I think it was like Dan's Vlog. So there you go, Dan. I give you a little shout out. It was like Dan's
Yeah.
Vlog or something.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy drove around and he's like, I just put a little Dawn dish soap and you pour some bleach in there,
Yeah.
and then you stick your little hose in there and you spray it on the house. Every house, $175 for a 2-story, $100 for a 1-story.
Uh-huh.
Okay, it's great. Well, I learned pricing that way. You're not going to make any money. But it seems I was doing houses for 250, $200, $250 a day. I'm getting 2 or 3 houses in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm living high on the hog.
Yeah, because that's back
Again,
in
so I thought.
2017. Yeah, that was but still, even 7 years ago, like that, like I didn't even know about exterior cleaning 7 years ago. I knew about it in 2018, but I didn't know about it in 2017. And so inflation, all of that stuff that we're here right now, if you guys are watching in 2024, yeah, like I'm pretty sure 250 out there where you're at was pretty decent.
Well, yeah, because especially when you're making money and it's all work, right? And yeah, so yeah, and at the time, you're, oh, all right, you got to pay taxes on any of this, but then you add it all up and you do end up paying taxes on it at the end of the year, right? But yeah, it just seemed like I was making money hand over fist, and I really wasn't, but at the time, compared to where I was when I was an employee, right? And I'm working for another person, I'm making $15-16 an hour, $17 an hour, I think, by the time I left there. Uh, that's nowhere near the amount of money that you're making when you're washing for a day or two, even at a low rate wash.
Mhm. No, most definitely. So, what was like? How did you get your first couple of jobs when you first when you first started? Like, how did you get your first jobs?
So believe it or not, I grew my business very organically over Facebook. Before I had a marketing company or even a website or any of that stuff, I just literally grew it organically over Facebook. I reached out, I remember in November of that year, I reached out to Rob Anderson. We all know Rob, right? Clean Power
Yep.
Wash up in
Maryland.
Salisbury, Maryland, right?
Yep.
So I reached out to him. I had been watching a bunch of his videos, and I reached out to him about pricing a hotel, right? No, wait, back that up. When I first reached out to him, I asked him about cold water machines, hot water machines, different pressure washers, things like that.
Uh-huh.
I ended up buying a system from Softwash Systems, so I didn't even go the pressure washer route at all. But I got all the training and all the information. I didn't even know anything about roof cleaning at the time until I went to Softwash Systems.
Mm-hmm.
But so in February of the next year of 2018, I got a call to come quote a hotel because they'd seen my Facebook videos and stuff. Well, one of the things Rob told me is if you want to grow, jump on Facebook, do some Facebook lives, show people what you're doing. People want to watch videos. So he told me grow it organically like that. So, and that's what I did. So then when I called him back in February, now mind you, Rob probably gets a ton of phone calls from a ton of different people all over the
Mhm.
place, right? That watch his videos. What really knew that I was in the right spot is when I called him in February and he goes, "Hey, what's up, Shawn?" He
Yeah.
saved my number. Like he knew who I was. Like for me, that really meant something, you know.
Mhm.
And Rob and I have been friends since, but it just to me that really meant something that, you know, hey, I didn't just call him and he forget who I was. He remembered me.
And so just organic Facebook marketing, so like just going live, posting on there all the time is what really got you to is what really got your business going in those first couple of like months when you first started.
It did. It did. And in fact, because I was going live so much and I was doing so much of this stuff, I actually got tapped for Facebook, Meta, Facebook's uh, business leaders program.
Oh.
So I was part of it for almost 3 years, and I was part of a small community of people that Facebook has decided that are influential leaders within their own community, doing certain things with their businesses and stuff like that. So that was a really nice program to be a part of because they recognized how many times I was going live, how much that I was posting and things like that. And that was a pretty neat thing.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So, what were like the challenges that you had? What do you think were like one of like two or three challenges that you had when you first started your pressure washing business? Because I know that you just said you got your education, which we'll talk about in a minute, but that could also be lumped into this. What were some of the first challenges you had when you were first starting out and experiencing and doing jobs and doing all of that for your pressure washing business?
That it took forever. No, just kind of really learning what to do, you know, trying to figure it out. Um, you know, trying to find tips when you blow them out of the end because you forget, you know. Once I got my equipment, then I started getting busier.
Uh-huh.
And the first challenge I had was I'm on a roof or I'm on a ladder and I'm trying to answer the phone to try to set up an estimate for later in the day. And it just got to be too
Mhm.
much for just one person. So then I ended up hiring my oldest daughter, Haley, who still works for me today. Um, and she started manning the phones and collecting payments and doing all the office work and that really helped me. I think the biggest challenge was trying to do the work and handle the phone calls and the sales all at the same time.
And you hit the nail on the head, to be completely honest, because in my opinion, doing marketing for exterior cleaning businesses, having, being part owner of a home service business, a couple of years ago, just looking at that, is I know that one of the biggest like challenges that you have is like answering the phone, invoicing, doing all of that. So even if you could start back over, what would your first hire be? It would be an office manager, just like how you hired Haley.
Same thing. But
Mhm.
you know, if I was to step back, right, and
Uh-huh.
if I was to just go right back to the beginning, day
Hmm.
one, you know, what am I gonna do?
Hmm.
No, Haley's not my first hire.
Oh,
I
she's
love her to death. Don't kill me, kid. No, she's not.
okay.
There's one thing that I've preached over and over and over again. Do not get in the truck. Do not sit in the truck as a business owner. Do not get on the truck. Do not get on the truck. Do not get on the truck.
Hmm.
Because the problem is, once you get on the truck, you can't get off the truck.
Hmm.
You can't grow your business. If you're in your truck, if you're working in your business, you're not working on your business. And then
Hmm.
it's so easy, even as now, okay, we're 8 years into this, right? You can see I'm not wearing a collared shirt today because, you know, I had another company reach out and they really needed somebody.
Hmm.
Well, we don't have the extra bodies around right now because we're just coming out of the slow season. So I go jump back on the truck. So it's real easy when, you know, you've got a big day and somebody calls out sick and the GM looks at you and says, "Well, you can go do it, right?"
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not technically my job, but we also I would rather go, well, dang, I gotta go do this, right? And I don't have a problem cleaning, don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
But we're trying to get to the level where I'm doing the work that I'm supposed to be doing so we can keep growing and we can give the technicians the money and the bonuses and the, you know, things that so they can earn them, right?
Hmm.
Um, but I can't let a customer I can't oh, we can't come today. John didn't come to work, so. One thing I preach to my guys is people, when in the service business, people they take days off so they can be there while you clean, even though they don't have to. Some people just want to be around for it, so they'll take the day off of work, or they'll sit home specifically waiting on you, and all of a sudden you don't show up or your guys are late. People don't like that, so we try to make sure that we handle that customer service side first.
Most definitely. So I still like, even though I guess it's going to be because I've heard various opinions on that first hire. And honestly, there's a lot of people that say the same thing that you say right now, like David Mormon. There's a lot of people that will say like exactly what you're saying in terms of like hire a technician first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because even with that technician, you can probably grow them to be a lead technician at that point. You know what I mean? And they can train the next guy that you hire as a technician. I think what I was saying with like with the office manager thing is that a lot of guys love to go ahead and be on the truck and do all of that. I'm saying if you're gonna do that, at least have somebody do invoices for you, answer the calls, do all of
Yep.
that stuff, right? And you seem to be of that other crowd, kind of how I would be too, to where I'm like, look, man, I'm trying to get off the truck as fast as possible. So I will answer the phone and I'll do the sales, I'll do the invoices, but I'll have somebody else do the work. And as you can probably attest to, most guys in the exterior cleaning industry, they're the exact opposite. They like doing the actual work, but answering the phone and making the sales, they don't like to do that as much. Doing the admin work, they probably don't like doing that as much.
Right. There's a lot of guys that just like the cleaning aspect and they don't want to do all the other things. And then you got to remember, not everybody has the idea of growing into a business, right? A lot of people just enjoy having their job.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to say it, guys, when you are a single owner operator, you don't own a business, you own a job.
Mm-hmm.
And that's nothing against any of you guys. The only reason why I say that is because when you own a business, right? So right now, my company's set for a 3-bus hit company. I don't know if you understand the bus hit idea. So if I get hit by a bus, it keeps going. I still have Haley and Mia here, right? If Haley gets hit by a bus, she's standing next to me, gets hit by the bus. We can still keep going because we still have Mia here to run things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, everybody else is like, nah, we're out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the more that you can build that into it, that helps, because the reason why I say you have a job and not a business, even though it is a business and it's titled as a business and stuff, what happens if you get hurt?
Bingo.
What happens if you get bit by a snake? What happens if anything happens to you? Your source of income is gone. Absolutely gone. If I get really sick, I get hurt, I can take a week or 2 off. My paychecks still keep rolling because the business keeps going, right? So it's important, if you're going to grow your business, to grow it in a way where you're not needed. You're not the person that they have to call 24/7 to get all the answers for everything. Get the knowledge out of your head. And then, like I said, have key people in place.
No, and I agree with you 110%, because I always tell every business owner, like eventually at some point it's inevitable that you're going to have to just get an employer or hire somebody. Either you're going to stay the same rate, and then if you stay at the same ceiling that you're always at, and I had a client that this happened to, and God bless him. In that sense, he's getting out of the industry now because he just can't stand on his feet long enough. But he broke both of his ankles. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like after that point, he had to get surgery. He was out for like 6 months at that point, and he knows who he is if he's listening to this. But he was out for like 6 months, and I tell all of my guys that are owner operators, like, dude, you like, as much as you say you don't want to grow, like you don't want to grow a company like this, you don't want to do that, like you're gonna have to grow it at least to where you have at least 2 or 3 employees at the very least, because if you get hurt, your income is zero at that point.
Yep. So last year, 2 years ago, I went through the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses
Uh-huh.
program. And they told us a staggering fact, and don't quote me on the exact numbers,
Okay.
but me having more than 5 employees, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, puts me in the upper 13 or 15% of all business owners across America. They're
Yes.
literally like 60 or 65% of all small businesses in America are single owner operator businesses.
Hmm.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
scary.
it's great to hear so many businesses, but it's sad that there are so many people out there that won't have anything beyond the time that they are physically unable to do it themselves.
No, and I think you're right, and that segues us into the next question is like, what do you look for? Like, what is your hiring process? You don't have to go through the full, complete panel of your hiring process,
Right.
but what does your hiring process look like? Number one, and then number two, like, what trait do you look for in employees?
So we've tried so many different ways of hiring people. We've actually signed on with HireBus. I don't know if you know much about HireBus, but they
On,
get
right?
all of our they do the ads through Indeed and stuff. Then the candidates will go through the questionnaire on HireBus. If they're a fit from that point, we'll reach out to them. I like to do a working interview with people. I want to see them pull a ladder off a truck. I want to see them get on the ladder. I want to see if they're shaky on a roof. I want to kind of gauge their aspect of it. So we'll take them out for a day, because I don't know about you, in the exterior cleaning business, people are like, "Yeah, man, I don't have a problem spraying bleach. No, I don't have a problem spraying soap. And they're like, I love being outside." Till you get them out there, and then it's hot, and they got bleach raining down on their face, and they're like, "Oh, this sucks." You know, yeah, it's not for everybody, right? Um, and that's why we take them out there, because if you hire somebody, you hire somebody, you take the time to train them, get them on the truck. It costs you around $4,000 if that employee doesn't say.
Well,
Literally, you can just dump $4,000 down the drain because that one employee didn't stay around.
probably even more, man. You're probably being generous when you say $4,000 because there's a lot of like I look at that and like when I lose like we've all lost employees before, right?
Mhm.
Whether they resign, whether you fired them, whatever it may be. And man, like I realize all the time, all the money, you know what I mean? You're like you
Yep.
end up looking at things and like you're right, you may have lost 4,000, but then when you look at the time of what else you could have been doing and the training that you did and the investment, it's like 4x that. And so you're right about
Yep.
that. People don't look at those sunken costs.
No, they don't. They're like, "Oh, well, don't worry about it. We'll just hire another guy."
Hmm.
So I try to make sure we hire the right candidate. Have we had some bad ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I I'll never forget the time I hired this kid, and he came in, he worked for his working interview. The next day, I got a phone call from his mother. Now, mind you, this kid is over 18 years old. So, but his mother called me and told me that he cannot work here anymore because her son is too sun sensitive and can't be outside all day and got sunburned that previous day.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, we tell you you're going to be outside all day. No disrespect to him. It happens. I just kind of wish he would have called me versus his mom.
Yeah, but that already tells you I mean, that's probably a good thing that it happened because imagine he had worked for you for like 2 or 3 months at that point, and then he had said that you would have wasted that time. So I love when things get hit in the bud right then and there, where it's like, okay, I know after this first week, like this person is not the person for us. Let me go ahead and move on. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that's just one of those things that's good. So hire bus, you said that you go ahead and you use to go ahead and hire, right? And that's Brandon
Yep,
Vaughn and his team, correct?
it is. It
Th-
is.
And then one thing that I think that you do that is really good is that you do that project, right? So you get them out on the field and just kind of see how they, acclimate to ladders, how they acclimate to the job and all of that, correct?
Correct. Yep. Yeah,
So
because I mean, if you don't, I can lift 50 pounds. How many times you ever heard that? You see the guy, "Oh,"
yeah.
or I can carry a ladder, and then you go over there and he grabs the ladder, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not the safe way of carrying a ladder. So um, there's some training aspects in it, but you always want to see if they're gonna be what they say they are.
No, most definitely. Like a book that I'm reading by Dan Martell, like Buy Back Your Time. I don't know if you've read that book before,
I
but
haven't, but that one is on my book list.
yes, yes, yes. And so not to get any spoilers, but one of the things that he talks about in the book is is going to be like when you're hiring, one of the biggest things that he says was a key indicator of, if somebody could work or not is doing a trial project, right? And so I've implemented that in our business too, because people be like, I can run Google ads. You get some fresh faced kid out of college and he's like, yeah, man, I know how to run Google ads, I know how to do this. You're like, okay, set up these basic things for me. And They do not know what they're doing, right? And that saves a lot of people a lot of heartache. So,
Absolutely.
we're talking about employees right now when it comes to that. So how do you kind of like how do you train your employees? Like, what does training look like? And how do you like ensure your team maintains high standards? Because a lot of guys will end up saying like, man, I don't hire employees because they can't do as good as I can do, right? And I'll get callbacks, I'll get this, that, and the other. So what expectations do you have for guys that say that? And then also, how do you maintain high standards for your team, and how do you train them?
Okay, so one, you're gonna get callbacks whether you do the work or somebody else does the work, right? Okay, so here, this was the hardest pill to swallow the first time I watched the truck leave the shop.
Mm-hmm.
Watching the truck leave the shop without me in it, right? And
Yeah.
you have to have an understanding that that truck's gonna come back dented, scratched, things are going to be missing, you have to understand that, right? And you already have to put that in your head that these things are going to happen. Okay, it's not their truck, it's not their stuff, right? But you also have to have an accountability. You can't just say, well, here's keys to $100,000 vehicle, have a great day, send them on their way. So you have to have accountability. You have to make sure the tools are in order. You have to make sure the things are in order, run through checklists if that's what you have in your company. Hey, you got to make sure the tires are aired up, that it's got oil in it, the transmission's full,
Mhm,
whatever it is that you need to make sure. But you have to have that understanding that things are going to happen,
mhm.
mistakes are going to happen.
Mistakes are gonna happen. So how do you go about training your employees?
So we train them. So when we bring them in after that first day, they come in and they decide they want to go out on the job. Then we do take them out on the job. During that whole first week, we're teaching them, what is sodium hypochlorite, what is the different soaps we're using, why are we using these soaps. We hammer, hammer, hammer home, never mix acids and bleach. I mean, I don't know how many times I say that. Don't mix acid and bleach. Just put that out there. So, um, it's just a constant training program. I'll every now and then I'll just walk up to an employee. I'll be like, "Hey, what's the chemical number for sodium hypochlorite?"
Mhm,
They better be able to spit it out at any point in time. So the training process is all hands-on training. We used to do like some video training back when we were in Softwash systems. Um, it was a lot of great information. Most of the employees hated sitting there for a week long watching it. Um, like I said, great information. Delivery is a little slow, but they got all the information they needed. So now we kind of do in a hybrid way. We're still giving them all the information they need, but it's more of that hands-on, on-the-job training, so they understand. So you're not just watching a video, learning all about sodium hypochlorite, learning about the different laws and the different reasons of why you're doing it. You're actually out there doing it while you're learning.
mhm. Most definitely, and I think that appeals to the learning styles of everybody, right? Some
Hmm.
people like to be hands-on, some people like to watch, some people like to read, and so, when you're doing the hands-on training, it kind of hits on every single thing. I know that if you sit and you watch something, you're like, I want to apply it as well. So that's good that you go ahead and that you do that. One thing that you mentioned, because we can segue into this right now, because well,
Okay.
actually, you know what? Because I feel like you might. I can feel like. Well, hold on. So, what is the most what is the biggest challenge that you faced in your business? You know what I mean? Since you've done it, like whether it's unexpected, expected, what was the can you name a time when there was like the biggest challenge you faced in your exterior cleaning business?
Hmm. Depends on what we're defining as challenge. Okay, so I would say my biggest one of my biggest challenges is finding the right people that gel together, right? Because you can hire all kinds of people, but if you got two technicians in the truck and they don't gel, like if it just doesn't fit, they're never going to get through their job quickly and efficiently, right? I think one of my biggest challenges was one of our biggest cleanings when we cleaned in on the Builtmore Estate. That was probably my biggest challenge because that was just a logistical nightmare. And now you're trying to spray, and the hotel never sleeps, so we're out there spraying, cleaning, people in and out. And so for me, that was probably one of the biggest challenges as far as cleaning wise. Just finding the right talent.
Finding the right talent. So, and so that Biltmore Estate, I'm saying it correct?
Yes, the inn on the Biltmore Estate. So we didn't watch the Biltmore house itself. I don't think I'd feel comfortable doing that one because it costs so much money. But all the other we do have a contract, so we clean any of the other properties on there. Maybe someday they'll ask me about the house itself. I'll probably not feel good when they ask me about it.
Man, look, Shawn, that is if that's your biggest challenge, man, you've had a pretty time in business to them, man. You know what I mean? Like you've been blessed, you know what I mean? Because I know some people might talk about, man, I lost it all or I did this, but it seems like things have been somewhat consistent for you over these past 7, 8 years then.
They have. I mean, we've had our challenge. We've had struggles. I mean, there's
Uh-huh.
always a struggle coming out of the winter season. I would say 2024 coming out of our winter season was probably one of the hardest. What we do is we like to stack some money aside because we know we're not going to get paid money in January and stuff. So we're really not going to make.
No,
What's
go on,
no,
go on.
so we're not going to make a lot of money in January. So we try to pre-plan for that and we'll put money aside. Well, last year we didn't put enough money aside. And then obviously that first quarter being down 22% on what you're kind of planning, it was pretty much a struggle here. We were on a struggle bus. I mean, I guess to the point to where at that time my business coach was like, you really got to figure it out. Like, maybe you should let everybody go and jump back on the truck and start over. And you can go from there, or you can, I don't, they weren't really sure what we wanted to do. And I told them, I said, look, I said, Caleb, I'm gonna stay here until they shut the lights off and they drag me out kicking and screaming. They take all my vehicles and we can't wash nothing. I'm staying here till that. And they go, I don't think that's what's best for you. And I said, probably not, but I don't quit. I don't give up. I don't quit. And here I am. So we're still kicking away. We're still got people in place. I never had to let anyone go. Was it a struggle? A little bit, yeah. But now we've got another tool in our resources for next year. So now we know, yeah, we need to stack a little bit more. Maybe February is not going to be as good. So it's a learning curve. You don't know what you don't know.
No, most definitely. You don't know what you don't know. So let's talk about that. Let's segue into that where we talk about the seasonality of business, right? And so so you talk about stacking cash. And so I've actually talked about that because I see a lot of professionally ran businesses do that to where like during their busy season, they're like, look, I could reinvest this money, do all of that, but I want to keep my guys, so I give them a month or two vacation. We set aside a lot of money during that time frame when we were making a lot of money to go ahead and be able to do what we're doing now. So can you go a little bit about that and then also how you combated seasonality? Because I know how you combated seasonality, but the people watching and listening may not know.
Right. Okay, so let's start with the money part, right? Stacking the money, right? So yes, you know that you're going to be busy March to October, right? And you still got your summer slowdown in there. But while you're busy, even if it's 100, 500, something, one job a week, if you move that money out of your bank account and you put it in like Relay Bank, we've got a bank called Relay that we move our money into. There's no physical bank. There's no way to get the money. You have to initiate a wire transfer to transfer it out, transfer it in. So it's not like, hey, you can just swipe card and call it good.
Yeah.
So we'll stack, 10, 20, $30,000 over there. So that way during the season, when you're off, you know what you have to have. Now, one of the biggest things is people don't know their operating costs. What does it cost you to run? I know that it costs me $863 every single day to turn my lights on. Every single day. It's 90, I think it was $94 an hour or whatever, something like that. But I know these costs because I know what it's going to cost me to run the business. Now that doesn't take into account your variables like employee wages and soaps and things like that, fuel. But as your fixed costs, if you know what it cost you, then you know what to plan for while you're you're slow, right? So even if you don't really have a lot of people here working, you can still pay your truck payments, you can still make your rent payments, you can still pay the electrical bills and stuff, and then you can keep a skeleton crew going.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first part of the money. What was the second part?
The second part was how did you combat seasonality?
All right, so combating seasonality is you have to understand it's going to happen, right? You have to understand it's going to happen, and then so I started a couple years ago. I started I Need Lights. We started out as festivity lighting. Good friend of mine, Adam Hinesley, he's like, that's a terrible name. It's a terrible name. It's going to be hard for people to spell, hard for people to look up. It's a terrible name. And he had purchased the I Need Lights website and name. He came up with it and he offered it to me, and I bought it. And the ideas I have for this company are just astronomical. Because I mean, if you think about it, I Need Lights. I could go anywheres with that, right?
Yeah,
But
you
we started a exterior.
lighting, landscape lighting, you can do
But
anything
if
with
you needed a light for a 1947 Studebaker, I mean, we could drop ship you a light for that. I mean, literally, if I wanted to go that far into it, right? But because you could do anything, just Google, I need lights.
it. Mhm.
So, combating seasonality was the lighting company. That helped, get us into Christmas time, right? And then from there, what I tell my guys, and this is a great way to sell it to your team, is you're going to get a month off at Christmas time, right? Everybody understands it. So you can also, while the sun is shining and you're making your bonuses, you're making your commission checks, put some of that money aside, because you're gonna get laid off in December. You'll get called back, mid-January, beginning of February, but you're gonna have at least a month off. Take that month, go vacation, go see family, go do something with your life, go enjoy your youth now. Don't come January or December and then go, oh man, I got laid off. This really sucks. How am I gonna pay my bills? Because we tell you all year that's gonna happen. And we want you to use that time to live, enjoy your life.
Mhm. No, most definitely. So you offer and provide Christmas light installation services then,
We
correct?
do, we do. Yep.
You do. Okay, then how did you make that transition then? Because I know a lot of guys kind of get that I talk to, they kind of get scared of that transition when they're like, okay, lights. But now there's way more resources available to learn, like Clippa and all of these like Christmas light contractors, all of these training programs.
Well, I learned from Clippa. That was my that's how I learned. I took the Clippa certification and went through that. I got my first job, the first one that they called me about. I was just putting stuff out on Facebook, and somebody, this one called us. I went over there and I gave her the quote and I started adding it all up. It was like $4,500. And now I'm sick to my stomach because I'm trying to sell out of my own pocket. Guys, if I could teach you anything, do not sell out of your own pocket. What's expensive to you is not expensive to somebody else, right? Something that you wouldn't pay for doesn't mean that somebody else wouldn't. So never sell out of your own pocket. But
Mhm.
that's what I was doing. I was selling out of my own pocket. So I'm like, so I took it down to like $4,000. This is as low as I can go. So the lady goes, okay, sounds good. She calls me the next morning. She's like, let's do it. All right. She's like, we have it done by Friday? I go, I don't have any of the material that you need. I'll have to get it. I might be able to overnight it. She goes, yeah, overnight it. We'll pay for the overnighting. Okay, cool. All
Yeah.
right. So they ended up paying for the overnighting, and it's one of our biggest clients to date. I mean, they've added on since their initial 4,000, but we love going over there. We wash for them. We do odds and ends cleanings when they just need something done. They need the dock cleaned. We'll run out there and clean the dock for them. So it's built a lot of great relationships too.
Mhm. That's awesome. That's awesome. So how were you able to, so you got the first one on Facebook. I guess a question I'm going to ask you in a little bit is going to be how you currently do your marketing. But one thing I want to ask you is like, what strategies do you use to turn like first time clients into like lifelong customers? Because consistent throughout, your conversation here, you're able to say like, hey, these guys reach back out to us or we do this for them now. You know what I mean? And this is how it started. But what do you do in order to turn those first time clients into like lifelong customers?
We're not there to earn money.
Mm-hmm.
I tell them every one of them, I say, well, I'm not here to make $5, $10. I mean, yes, it helps. It helps the business run. I'm here to build relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I, whether it's cleaning, it's lights, it's pavers or whatever, we want to build a relationship with a customer. We want to be that person that they know, like, and trust. That, if Sally's got a neighbor down the road, that she's going to say, oh yeah, call Baker Softwash or call I Need Lights. We want to be that first one off the top of their head. We want, even when we make a mistake, and then I go out and I'll talk to a customer, like, if a bush gets damaged or something, they've got 100% plant and property protection guarantee, because I want happy clients,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the happier the clients you have, the better your business will go. So we ask every customer for reviews. We tell people that, we want to build a relationship with them, and we do build relationships. It's not just, I mean, literally, okay, to the point that we build a relationship. I had a client call me about a week or two ago, and great guy. And he called me up and he's like, hey, Shawn, like, we want to see about getting the house washed up again. He's like, I had a heart attack like 2 weeks ago, right? I'm like,
What?
no, I'm glad to be able to talk to you. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I mean, we build a lot of relationships, but not quite that far. But, people don't have no problem telling you that stuff. Like, hey, my wife passed away a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry. Like, oh, no, no. So we've built a lot of better relationships than just being transactional.
Mm-hmm. And that's good. That's good. So, um, when it comes to that too, so I know we talked about the customer, like how you turn those first time clients into lifelong customers. What are some like marketing strategies that you utilize now? I know when you first started, you're doing a lot of organic stuff, but what are some of the things that you do now in order to get leads, in order to get jobs?
Oh man, we're just everything. Let me see. Obviously we got a website. I pay the website company and they do my marketing on that part aspect. We've got our Google ads that we pay for. We got our social media marketing we pay for. We just signed on with Zach Garside for copyright. He's going to be writing all of our ad copies and stuff. So I don't know, if you think about it, if every dollar I make, I don't end up with a whole lot of it left over, because all you guys get it. It's funny, when I was at the huge convention, I literally could walk around. I'm like, I spend money there, they get my money, and they get
Uh,
money every month, and they get money every month.
uh, No, it's understandable. Those are operating costs. So it seems like you have a holistic way of marketing then, and that's probably where you've gotten to be able to do 800, around 800,000 and do all of that. Because most exterior cleaning businesses, man, I say majority of them are doing under 500,000. You know
And we
what I
do it on
mean?
2 trucks.
See, so two trucks. So like only two trucks then. So that's high profit right there, man. Like you know what I mean? You're
I,
on
I I am blessed for my area. I am blessed in my area.
you are blessed. Elaborate on that. What do you mean by that? You're blessed in your area.
Okay, so they just announced last week, Mooresville is the #1 growing city in America, which
Uh-huh.
we don't want anymore. Stay away. Oh, no, just kidding.
Yeah,
But we
but
have
you
lake.
probably want some more, man. You probably want some more people
Yeah,
out there.
we
Why would
do.
you make more money?
I hate seeing all the new houses go up, like, oh, brand new subdivision, 300 houses going in here. You're like, dang it. But that's future clients. So,
Exactly.
like, even if you get 10% of that neighborhood, that's still future clients. So,
That's pretty
um,
cool right there.
yeah, yeah. I got lost there in my
No,
train of
no,
thought,
no,
but
no, 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 no. It's all good. You were
we
talking.
have we have Lake Norman. So I mean, you got to figure Mooresville is Race City, USA. It's where home of all the NASCAR is. Um, Charlotte is the second largest banking center in America, next to New York. So
A lot of
then you've
money.
got, yeah, and then you've got a lot of doctors and things like that here. We have celebrities that have houses here. I mean, heck, even the guy from Deadliest Catch, one of the captains from Deadliest Catch live out here on the lake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You
So
guys just
yeah,
have to find out there too.
yeah,
That
we
yeah.
a little bit of everything. And then you think, okay, so it's just the lake, but it's not just the lake. You've got the lake, then you've got Monroe, and then you've got Mint Hill, and you've got, Ballantyne area, and you've got if you ever really had a bunch of time to drive around Charlotte, there is so much wealth in Charlotte. It's just crazy.
Oh, I know. Like I said, like we were talking about before the call, like I have a client that is in that York County kind of area, South Carolina, like and they service like the Matthews, like the southern part, Gaston County, all of that,
Yep.
right? And so there's a lot of money, but what I want to get with that is that, like, just like you said, is that some guys are blessed in certain areas and other guys aren't. And I try to explain that to clients all the time is they'll come to me and they'll say something like, or even people that we're talking to that want our services. And I'm like, dude, whatever agency told you that, they're lying to you. They just want money from you, man. Cause like some people will say, hey man, I want to run Google ads in like two, like in some just small no name area that you don't know, like Fargo, North Dakota. You know what I mean? Where it's
Right.
like, dude, you're not gonna get much. Like there's literally 100,000 people, like if that, like 80,000 people in this area. You know what I mean? Like running
Mhm.
ads in Rochester, Minnesota isn't gonna necessarily move the needle for your business, you know? And
Right.
so some guys will be like, well, Facebook ads work here, or Google ads have worked for this company. How come it doesn't work for me in that sense, right? And so like you said, I think that I tell a lot of people where you start your home service business is gonna play, like you're either giving yourself an advantage or a disadvantage. You know what I mean? And there's advantages and disadvantages to both, because if you're in an area like Rochester, Minnesota, there may be only like five or six, you know what I mean? Big time, like not big time, but like companies out there anyway. So you can
Right.
be a large fish in a small pond. But if you go up
Yeah.
there with you guys up there in Mooresville, Lake Norman, there's a lot of companies, but there's also a lot of opportunities though too.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities. And okay, so here let's talk about the companies. Everybody has to deal with this, right? Oh man, it's springtime. Somebody went down and bought a Home Depot pressure washer and yada yada, and now we got to worry about Joe started and we got 17 new pressure washer companies. Those people are not your competition. They're not. The only person that is your competition is yourself. As long as you beat you tomorrow better than what you were today, you're winning. You're moving the needle forward. Um, in if you okay, so we have one large company in this area that's a local that isn't a franchise. We have a couple of franchises like Shine and Window Genie and things like that. Speaking of Window Genie, uh one of my clients is never mind, let's not go there. Well, we do stuff with Window Genie too. We try to make sure that we're real good friends with all these people, right? New guys start up, we'll call them, hey, how's it going? Do you want to go sit down and have lunch and kind of talk to them? I try to get a feel for, are they just in it for beer money, or they want to build a business? Do they want to know the right things and the wrong things of doing it, or do they not care?
Mm-hmm.
So, talking to your competition is a good thing. But like I said, we have one really large company here in this area. They just they're a they just worry about themselves. You know what I mean? Like, not necessarily they don't worry about themselves. They won't talk to anybody else that's their competition. They just feel like you're competition to them, and they don't want to have any conversations with you, which is really sad. It's really sad, and the reality of it is, because the guy that owns it loves to he's a educator within the business, within the exterior cleaning company. I'm not gonna call him out by names, but the fact that like he holds it in to where I'll tell somebody from another state, but I won't tell somebody who lives here.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that doesn't make any sense. I want to know that if I'm doing the job, I'm doing it right. If Joe got the job over me, at least Joe's gonna do the job right. So we try to make sure that we're friends, or co-opetition with all of the other people in the area.
I like that
um
competition. Um, yeah, no, I 110% agree with you on that. Like I said, I talked to a lot of our quote unquote co-opetition, right? I'll call it
Mhm.
co-opetition. I talked to a lot of them, like even at the huge convention there, shout out to Zeke Demotsky over at Creatively Innovative. We
Yep.
talked for like 2, 3 hours, you know what I mean? Just about marketing stuff. I'm gonna have John and Mr. Pipeline on, in a couple of weeks here
that
too.
dude that dude that dude is awesome. Try not to cry when he tells you his story.
Yeah, no, 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 of course, of course. And so you got him. We have all of that, right? So I'm probably will have lunch with another one of our competitors as well. But we talked for like 2.5 hours like last week, So I totally agree with you, is that you're literally, collaborations at the top, competition at the bottom, right? So the people
Hmm.
at the top are all collaborating, like, hey, Jonathan, I got this guy that we can't work with because we already got two other people here. Like I told them that your company is really good, man. We're gonna send them your way. You know what I mean? And vice versa. You
And
know what?
we've got a couple of companies we literally do that with, or they do it with us. They'll call us up and be like, hey, I can't do this job. We know you have the ability to. Can you do it? And we throw them some money back for it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to help me out, I'm going to give you some money. I'm going to give you part of that. I don't got to send a sales guy out there. I'm going to give you the sales guy's
Yeah,
commission,
no.
right? Um, yeah, just stay friendly with your, and if you're in the exterior cleaning business, like here, there's way more houses out there every year that are dirty than me and my company. Even if I had 15 trucks on the road, we couldn't handle everybody's demand,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no, exactly. Like I said, I don't know, there's 24,000 exterior cleaning businesses. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter how many of us, like marketing companies, or like even for yourself, like there's in Charlotte, how many, like there's like 3 or 4 million people in Charlotte, like metro, like
Yep.
that, like 3 or 4 million people. So it's like, what, 200 companies are going to service, like, and let's just say 200. And I'd say probably there's maybe 50 of you guys out, 50 companies in that area that are truly professional. You know what?
Mhm.
Like, I'm not saying, like, of course there may be 200, 250 companies, but 50 that are like actually professional, whether they're owner operators and their owner operators is very professional, or they got a team. You would probably say about 50 people in that area as well, like 50 companies. He's like
I
maybe.
would say maybe 10 that I know of, 10 or 15. I mean, no, that's rude. Probably maybe around 20.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, to
20.
be honest with you, there are about 20 companies that you can honestly think around here that are bigger companies that doing the right thing. They're taking care of their employees, so those are the professional ones. I would say there's probably only maybe 15 or 20. And again, I don't do a lot of marketing in that southern end of Charlotte right now because windshield time doesn't pay, right? So I
Bingo.
may I may have to, I may find that there are more competition down there that I don't have to deal with up here in the lake. And we travel all over Charlotte. I mean, we have feelers all over the place. But again, if I have to drive 45 minutes or an hour to Matthews for $500, I'd rather stay local and make 400.
Yeah, no, no, of course, because the expense on that. And that's what I always tell people when they do marketing or they do anything like that. They'll tell me, like, and I'm pretty sure you probably hear from new guys that probably talk to you, whatever it may be, and they're like, yeah, man, I go. Yeah, let's say they're in LA, they're like, man, I would go down to San Diego, like we service an 80-mile radius. And I say, dude, you're just starting off, you're in your first 6 months, so of course you'll take any job. I mean, hell, if somebody in Europe said, like, and somebody in Britain right now said, you know what, man, this job that we have will pay you $3 million for, and it'll take you 2 weeks. Would you go and fly out to Britain and take your team and get your trucks and find some way to make that
We're on
happen?
the way. We're on the way.
you
Dude,
you'd make that happen, right? Like if somebody,
absolutely.
or
Absolutely.
or if even if somebody said, "Look, man, it'll take you a month. It'll take you a month, but to do this job 7 days a week, it'll take you a month to go ahead and do, but we'll pay you $3 million, right?" And you knew you could execute it, because some people might be like, "What was it like?" But you knew you could execute it, and you knew it would make sense for you. You'd find any way to do it, but you wouldn't say, "Man,
Absolutely.
my service area is London," and like you would just, you're not going to say that though, right? So, you're right about that. I tell guys, like, have route optimization as well. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, just figure it out. I mean, again, remember these simple words. Windshield time doesn't pay. Doesn't pay you. It pays your employees, but it doesn't pay you.
Exactly. And you are the one that pays your employees too, right?
That's
So you have to have the best interest in that. So I'll start to get more on the personal side of things in terms of like you just develop, your entrepreneur self, all of that in your company. So where do you see Baker Softwash in like the next 5 to 10 years?
global domination. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No, actually, I have a map. I'll print it out of locations, and I think it's 9 branches
Uh-huh.
that I want to have around the Charlotte metro area, down into South Carolina, out into, Asheville, basically encompassing most of North Carolina, a little bit into South Carolina. Um, I think at 9 branches, each truck running around 400,000, 4 trucks per branch makes it around $14.4 million in annual revenue. So that's kind of what I'm looking at over the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Got
Those
to
are
find the talent. That's the biggest thing. You can grow all you want if you don't find the talent, and then understand that talent's going to make mistakes, then you're not going to get there.
exactly, exactly. So man, like I said, I really appreciate you for being on this for an hour with me, man. And we
Yeah.
covered a lot. It seems like we flew through this, you know what I mean?
Really? Because like, man, it seemed like we just started. It's like hard to think. We've already been here for an hour.
Yeah, man, we've been here for about an hour now. So one thing that I want to ask you too, man, is just like, what are some things that make you like a better entrepreneur yourself? And some things that you do. Like, I don't like to call them hacks or anything like that, but everybody has certain things that they say, like, okay, this makes me a better entrepreneur.
Oh, I think it's the fact that I worry about them more than me.
Mm-hmm.
The team to me is more important. I think it was a long time. I didn't even take a paycheck, and I barely was taking a check until I hired on my GM a few years ago. And and I was taking a check at the time, and I think I was making like $13 an hour, right? Everybody else is making way more than I am, and I'm 4 years into my business, and I'm making like 13 bucks an hour just because I needed to get a check. Now, of course, I'd have some owner's draws that help that out. But when she came in, she's like, Shawn, why do you make less? Why do you make less than me? Why do you make less than anybody else in this company? I go, I don't know, because we need it. She's like, you're getting a raise. I go, oh, okay. I'm like, how much? Like $2? And I was just joking. And she goes, no. And she made my raise, and she goes, now you're the highest paid employee in the company. I made
Oh.
like 25 cents more than my daughter. So, but it was just the fact that as an entrepreneur, we're not going to take a check. We're not going to worry about us. We're going to worry about the clients. We're going to worry about the team, the employee. That's what I do. Everything that I do, I think of, how's it going to affect them? How's it going to add to them? What value can I add to them? It helps me. I think it strokes my ego more than anything, knowing that I have these people working for me, that come in here that are invested in the company, not even invested in me. They're invested in the business itself. They want to see the business grow. They enjoy doing it. And then just to know that I'm able to provide a decent living for them. They don't have to go to the state. They don't have to ask their parents for money. They don't have to be broke, right? I honestly, in the 8 years I've been here, I think I've only ever had an employee ask me to borrow some money one time, and I didn't have a problem with that, because of what it was for. But we pay them well.
Mm-hmm. So you would say that your trait just is selflessness then basically.
Yeah,
Self what it would be. No, definitely. And I agree. Like, I tell my team all the time is that because they always say that as a business owner that we're the ones where it's like we're taking the most risk. And I don't agree with that, to be honest with you, because I look at it like as a business owner, you'll always be fine. Because like you said, worst case scenario, what ends up happening, you just unhire everybody on the team and then you just do the work yourself. You know what I mean?
right.
Worst case scenario, worst case, and you still make a living, you still get a paycheck, you do all of that. And if you want to take it a deep, level deeper, we could talk about how if you get injured. But I just always say that. But these employees you know, risk their lives for that and that kind of stuff. Cause and it's contingent upon how you're gonna be as a leader and where you're leading them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And the decisions you make could impact their lives and their family and all of that, right? And so
it does.
I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. Is there anything else that you would want to share with us, Shawn? Like anything else that you know that and that you feel like that we could talk about?
Oh Lord, I don't know. We could talk about all kinds of things.
Oh man.
Um, I think one of the things I think I'd like to tell everybody is, as far as business coaching, we've all seen the business coaching just come flying out of the woodwork in the last 2 years, right?
Mhm.
If you're on the truck, don't get a business coach. You're not ready for it, right? Once you're off the truck and you have the time to invest, then you get a business coach. Definitely get a business coach. Don't not get a business coach. Definitely get one. But
Mhm.
don't do it when you're on the truck. Don't waste that money when you're on the truck. Wait till you can grow your business and you can utilize what they're telling you, you know. It's like saying, man, I'm gonna go hire, Bill Belichick to coach me to sit on the bench.
Mhm.
That makes no sense at all, you know?
Uh-huh. No, and I can definitely see where you're coming from. What would you say to the guys that say, "Look, man, I'm hiring the business coach so that I know that like, or so that I can go ahead and shorten the learning curve. Like I'm still on the truck, man, but I want a business coach so they can teach me how to get off the truck because I don't know how to get off of it. So I want a business coach to teach me how to get off of the truck."
Get a mentor. Start with a mentor. Start with somebody that's a friend that's gotten off the truck, right? There's enough people in this industry that are willing to grab a phone call and help you out. That is one of the greatest things about this pressure washing industry is a lot of us, we all know each other, right? It's a big industry, but the people who are the who's who of the cleaning industry, everybody knows each other, right? And everybody can feed in, or they help each other out when things are going wrong. I remember a few years ago there was a prominent business owner, had a good friend of mine. He had his shop burned down
Mhm.
and all his equipment was gone. I mean, literally his equipment was gone. He had work on the books. It's almost winter time. I think it was winter time. Anyway, Tim, I don't remember the exact day that this happened. But anyway, people came from all over the place and donated skids, pressure washers, borrows people's trucks to keep his business going. They all converged on Michigan to help a man out.
Tim who?
Uh um can't think of his last name off the top of my head.
Man, because I know a Tim in Michigan like that. And I'm like, man, if that's the guy I'm thinking about, man, I gotta give him like we usually talk once or twice a year, but I gotta give him a call then. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
At-
it's probably who you're thinking about,
You know what
honestly.
I Yeah. No, if that's a Tim I think that it is, man, then yeah, you're right then at that point. Like that's something that I have to go ahead.
McConnell.
Yeah, Tim McConnell, Surface Renew, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Surface Renew. I didn't know that. I didn't know that his stuff. Like I talked to Tim. Man, I got to give Tim a call. Now I didn't know that. I didn't know all of his stuff burned out because he's not usually big on social media like that. He's not a big time. Like he runs a big company, as you know,
yeah,
like but it's not. I did not know that. I will have to reach out to him then, man. Thank you for letting me know that.
yeah, yeah.
Tim
All right, Tim.
McConnell.
No.
I know. We're talking about you now, Tim. But you're talking about Tim McConnell out in Grand Rapids, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah. And it was just kind of cool to just see all these industry people just give back and donate money, randomly. Like they don't know Tim, but they're like, man, my brother's hurting. Here's some money for his GoFundMe.
Mm-hmm. No, most definitely, most definitely. So, yeah, and I will say that it is kind of like a brotherhood that I've seen for a lot of people, whether you catch up at the conventions, whether you do all of that, and it's just a good time and good to build relationships. And I think that you are right that if you're not able to, I think that the only pushback that I would say to you about like the coaching to get off the truck is I would say this, and you are right about this. If you're going to make the excuse of like, well, I'm on the truck, so I'm paying for this coaching and I quit the coaching because I didn't have enough time to do it. No, we all have time. It's
Mhm.
just a matter of what you're going to prioritize. And so that may mean you need to get up and do certain things because if you're still in the truck, that means there's other things that you're doing that don't require you to be on the job, like invoices, answering calls, CRM stuff, all of that you're doing that you could probably do early in the morning so
Yep,
that if you have a coaching call or you're getting coached and you're investing that money, you have more time. You just got to hustle harder though. You know what I mean?
yep. I'll give you that. But a lot of times these coaching calls are right in the middle of the working day.
No, no, and they are, and that's where I say to where it's just
Mario Chet. I don't know if you know Mario Chet. I don't think he's around anymore. He owned a company up in I want to say Jersey area.
Huh?
Great guy when I first met, when I met him. But very he's like no filter, like you know what I mean. He's gonna tell it to you as hard as it gets, and he doesn't care. Like we were sitting there, and we were at a Softwash Palooza, the thing that AC puts on every year, and we were sitting there. I think it was my very first Softwash Palooza, and Howard Partridge was out there, and he's talking about how you need a business coach, and you need a mentor, you need all this stuff, and you need to do this and that, and I go, oh, yeah, I think I should do this. I should sign up for this. I don't have $18,000. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I should figure out how to sign up for this. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking over the paper, and Mario leans over to me. He says, Shawn, he said, if you're working on that truck every day, you take that piece of paper and go throw it away. He said, if you ain't got time to sit on an hour-long phone call from 11 to 12 on a Wednesday morning, every single Wednesday, you ain't got time to get a coach. That made sense. And I think it was about another year or two before I finally did get a coach.
And I definitely understand what you mean by that. I definitely, and you know what, Shawn, I guess we'll just agree to disagree with that. And what
That
I mean
works.
by that is this. What I mean by that is this. I agree with what you're saying in terms of like how most guys are, because what he said is profound in the sense that, yeah, man, if you know that you're not committed to doing it at that point, then don't do it. You know what I
Right.
mean? But if you're committed, you will literally between 11 and 12, no nonsense. If somebody told you like, man, you will win a Lamborghini, like, because this is how I sell certain things too. If like somebody will come to me and they'll be like, Jonathon, that's a little bit expensive, man. And I say, really? Like $1,000 with this is expensive. But I always say, man, honestly, if I told you right now, you need to I'll give you a 2025 Lamborghini Huracan right now, right? If I were to give you a 2025 Lamborghini Huracan and I said it's only going to cost you $10,000, how many guys in the pressure washing industry would come up with that money, man?
Quick, quick. Oh, yeah.
You'll find
Flip that.
something. You'll find some way to go ahead and come up with that money or that time. If I
Mhm.
told them like every Wednesday you got to do this and you'll go ahead and get a Lamborghini Huracan, they'll be like, "Hey, I'll find some time between 11 and 12." But you're right about that. And most guys, I would agree with you on this, since most guys aren't going to take that time to do that. You know what I mean? Most guys aren't going to take the time to sit there and 11 to 12 because they're going to be like, "Well, I got Miss Sally's driveway." I'm almost positive if you told Miss Sally like, "Hey, Miss Sally, I'll give you whatever this kind of discount is or whatever time period this is between 11 and 12. You can go ahead and do that because she doesn't got to be home to do that. You know what I mean? Or take the coaching call in your truck while you're
Yep.
on the phone or whatever it may be. Put some AirPods in and do it while you're working. You'll make a way to make it happen. But I, I do appreciate you for saying that because I also feel like some guys are just way too new for it. Like, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
You need a I do agree with you on that though, where you say like if you just start off and you've been in the business for 5 months and you're like, man, I need to pay for this $2,000, $2,500 coaching thing, dude, you need to take some bumps and bruises, some black eyes in business first, because that's
Yeah.
going to give you context for when your coach is telling you certain things, right? It's just like for me, like I can get a basketball coach without picking up a basketball, but like of course you can, and they can tell you, well, you can practice the wrong way, but it's better to get a feel for it. Because I always tell guys when they talk to me about marketing, I turned down 2 guys today, and I know Shawn's like, man, this guy's talking a lot right now, but you just
Oh,
ignited
that's good.
a passion about like the coaching thing with all of this, whether it's coaching, whether it's marketing. I see a lot of guys say that they're like, I need a business coach for this. I was like, no, do you need a hustle? Like you don't need a business coach to tell you what you need to do right now. You know what you need to do. You need to go knock on doors. You need to go boots on the ground. Like you know these things. You need a business coach once you've actually have problems to where it's like I've tried everything that I could possible to do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then at that point you can go ahead and do it. And that's why a lot of guys have minimums. They're like, you need to be at this minimum revenue level or whatever it may be. But some guys don't care. They're just like, hey, I'll take your money. I'll take your money even when you're first starting off. And it's like, dude, you don't even have a business concept yet, you know?
We
So
have a minimum. We have a minimum to show up on a job. And I had a lady call me. She got her information. She wanted window cleaning. I went out to her. She lives in a townhome. So I'm like, they're not gonna hit our minimum. So we got out there, and she's on an end unit in the townhome, and she just has 7 windows.
Mhm.
7 windows is not going to hit our minimum to be able to dispatch a truck all the way to Charlotte. Cause I mean, she's down in Charlotte. So I'm like, I said, we got to hit our minimum. So we're going to go ahead and wash this entryway for you. We're going to get all this cleaned up for you. We'll get all these cobwebs out of here. And basically we did a little bit more work, still didn't spend much time there, but it allowed me to feel better about charging her our minimum, and she wasn't getting much done.
Mhm.
I got to be honest about my money. I can't steal from people. I can't make a dishonest dollar. It's just not me.
No, understandable, understandable. But yeah, Shawn, I really appreciate all these nuggets, man. Like I said, this conversation can go on for hours, man.
Oh yeah, we'd sit here forever. I think we'd lose some viewers after a while. I'd be like, all right, guys.
No, man, it's all good. It's all good. I know you're busy. I know you got people coming in and out. I see you're like, hey man, give me a second. So I don't want to hold those people from that. I want you to have a nice dinner, whatever it may be, for what you got to do, man. But it's always great to see you. So where can people find you, man?
All right, so you can find me. Look here's the real of it. I am available to anybody. If
Uh-huh.
you need information, you need advice, you want to know about something, if you need help pricing something, I can't price your market, and I can't, price fixing is illegal. I remember that. But I can help you out. So I'm completely available to anybody. Shoot me an email at Shawn@bakersoftwash.com. You can also click on my link tree on my Facebook. So you can find me on Facebook. My Instagram's private, so sorry you can't get me there. But yeah, I mean, you can look us up on TikTok. You can call our office, 980-435-0489, extension 102, directly to my desk. I'm available. If I don't answer the phone, you'll get a phone call back within the hour.
Hey guys, so and that's why I want to have Shawn on. He's just a selfless guy. And so I will link all of the stuff that he's talking about below, guys, whether you're watching it on the podcast, whether you're watching it on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, it doesn't matter, guys. I will have it in the description. We'll put his link tree out there. We'll also put his email there so you guys can find him on social media besides Instagram, because I'm the same way, Shawn. Like for Facebook, all of that, like I don't mind, but like yeah, Instagram, I'm like, you know what? Like I'll keep that for my
That's
personal.
my private life. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like all of our clients and customers and all that aren't even going to be on Instagram like that anyway. You know what I mean? Like they're all going
Yep.
to be on Facebook, all of that stuff. So yeah, maybe that'll change in like literally like 15 years, but that's 15 years down the road, right?
Yeah, for sure. For
You
sure.
know, so yeah, so thank you so much. And then you'll probably be at the PWMCA, right? Out in Orlando in February, right? But it's sales boost and all of those combined, isn't it?
Yeah, sales boost, home service, advice, home service something, I think. Yeah, so there's the PWMCA. It's gonna be the biggest show by far. I'm sorry, huge convention. This one might be a little bit bigger than yours.
No, I think it will because it's more geared towards exterior cleaning. You know what I mean? And I think that I have nothing against the huge convention. I just think that having it at the same location all the time, you know what I mean? I think the days messed it up where it's like Fridays, like, you have
Friday
Friday
and Saturday messed it up.
and like people have Friday, Saturday, and some people say, well, I have free time on the weekends, but I really think that people like to get away from things. You know what I mean?
They do.
Like if it's on a Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday's like the extra day, people are kind of like, you know what? I have an excuse to take off on Wednesday and Thursday, Friday, and then on the weekends I'll stay in Nashville, right, or whatever
Yep.
it may be.
For
But
your bizcation.
exactly, exactly. And so I think that having on the weekend, like that Saturday was terrible. I'm sorry, I gotta say, but that Saturday was like, I was like, man, that Saturday, I didn't really see much people. But I think that if they make a few changes, they put out a central location, you know what I mean, for a lot of
Yeah.
guys where that's at. And
Well, I think people like it moving around too,
yeah,
Nashville, now when we go back to Nashville next year, that'll be year 4.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that's people were like, okay, when we went back this year. No, Nashville's great. The convention area is wonderful. It's beautiful. The problem though is it's so big, it's so spread out, the networking failed. Literally, I
Yeah,
think that was
exactly.
the
So
biggest part. That
we're
was the
talking about that.
failure. of everything that last weekend was the networking. You know,
Yeah.
when you're trying to get to classes and you're trying to do stuff, it was really hard to network with people or to run into people and get something accomplished.
Yeah, because it's like the class after class after class, and then you had to pay if you didn't get a ticket, which I had a ticket, but you had to pay. Like, I think the expo should be free in that sense to go in there because that helps the vendors out, right? The people that paid for the booths and all of that stuff. And those are the people that are mainly funding the entire thing, you know? So,
I get it 50-50 on that one. And let me play devil's advocate on that. Okay.
hey, devil's advocate.
If I paid $150 to go to the education and the trade show was part of it, I'm going to be really mad if I paid for that money, but you get to go to the trade show for free. You get what I'm saying? The trade show is just part of that.
Well, and that brings us to and that brings me to my next point is that people feel like the education at that point isn't on part of where it needs to be at, right? Because the thing is though, is that like let's say that everybody can go to the trade show, but then at that point you have it to where you can only go to the class. Some people are like, I don't care about the class really like that, you know, like I'll network with people and
Yep.
I'll go to the trade show and then I'll have fun in Nashville, right? And so I feel like people feel like they would not be getting the most bang for their buck if you know if somebody else got it for free. But if the educational classes, which that was the feedback that I'm not downing the huge convention or
Nope.
anything like that, and neither one of
Either.
us. We're just hearing the feedback that other people have told us, you know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah.
But like it's just one of those things that if you look at it and you say, all right, then with the classes, if you make them truly educational, then at that point people are looking at it and they're like, look, I don't mind like if people get the free expo because I paid for the classes and I know the classes are going to be well worth their money, you know? But
Yep.
people are just saying like, I don't feel like the classes are worth the money right now because people are trying to sell things in there and all of that. And I get a lot of value from like there was a lot of great speakers. Like I said, John was great, Fred and Christine Hodge. Like there's a lot of people like David Mormon,
Leslie
um,
Blown.
JC Chinowski, you know what I mean? There was a lot of guys that gave a lot of good nuggets out there. And yeah, you know, so that's just
Yeah,
something.
I will tell you, don't try to sell from the stage at the huge convention. That will get you banned.
Yeah.
That will get you banned. I remember hearing one of the guys that own it, I won't put his name out there, but I remember hearing him 2 years ago where he was really mad at a speaker on stage because he found out they were trying to sell their service or their business or something on stage. He said that's not what you come to the huge convention for. The only place that we can sell something if we're going to sell it to you would be the main stage. You know, we allow the keynote speaker to talk about their program or whatever. But as far as like if you were to put on a marketing class, you would not be allowed to say, hey, and then if you need more help, give me a call.
Yeah,
They would
no.
ban you.
Yeah, no, no, no. I have a presentation, huge convention. When you want me to speak, you know, go ahead. Because I've spoken at some events, but whenever you need me to speak, because I would talk about marketing budgets, and I wouldn't just talk about like digital. I would talk about every single facet, yard signs, all of that, and how you can come up with a marketing budget. And that's the only thing I would talk about. I won't talk about like here at Pressure Washing Marketing Pros, we can do X, Y, and Z. I just
Yep.
say here's how you can go ahead and spread out your marketing budget and set out your marketing budget, not only for boots on the ground, but for digital, all of that stuff, right? And that's
Yep.
the
Absolutely.
and if you give a lot of value and information, then people are gonna be like, who the hell is this guy? You know what I mean? Like let me see who that is, and then your value that you provided sells for itself, you know?
Yep. Absolutely.
So yeah. But all right then though. All right then, Shawn. Thank you so much, man. I know you got something going on right here, but
Nah,
thank
I just would check something real quick. The dinner was on the way.
See, that's what I'm saying, man. So thank you so much, man, for the time. Like I said, man, I enjoyed this last, what has it been? Almost an hour and a half with you, man. I really enjoyed the time. And like I said, if you guys want to reach out to Shawn, we will have all his information in the description. As he said, he's readily available. But thank you all for watching. And once again,
Yeah.
Shawn, so much for
Hey
being
man, I just want to thank you for having me on. Thank you guys for taking the time to make it this far into the video. You didn't fall asleep, so we're really happy about that.
yeah.
The winner of today's prize. No, I'm just kidding. No, we really enjoyed it. I enjoyed this. If you ever want me back, I'd love to come back on here and share some more nuggets. I have been in the works speaking with Jamie about putting on a class at the PWMCA in February. So I had to take a year off. I did a speech there a couple years ago on building your team and having your org chart. This next year, I think it's really, we're going to focus on teaching and teaching from the stage and having group sessions. So it's really going to be an amazing thing. So come listen to me speak there.
Hey, we'll be ready, man. I'll be ready. So yeah. All right then, man. Well, thank you so much. And thank you guys for watching and listening. And like I said, Shawn, I will see you in February.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jonathan.
No problem. Thank you.